Hello there, welcome back to the show. This is going to be my last week for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to take a break, then come back in August. I mentioned it last week, I was going to take a break. So this is the last week, so the second half of July I'm not doing the videos, so I'm just taking a bit of a breather. But I'm going to end it with a massive auteur season of, I'm going to finish off the Bresson season basically, which means 4 Bresson films in 1 week. Which could be viewed as an insane ambition to do, but it'll be fine. We'll get through it. One of the reasons is I want to start off other directors in August, like Terrence Malick and things, so I want to start fresh in August, because I think I've kind of covered, you know, Bresson, I've covered the Holocaust, so I want to kind of move on to some new areas. So this is me finishing off Bresson, which gave me an excuse to watch lots of Bresson films, which was always good, because the good thing about Bresson movies, right, is that or films, obviously, once you start watching them, you're just so used to their pace that it doesn't feel, they're all kind of short, so you get into the way of Bresson's way of doing films, so it doesn't feel that difficult to watch after a while. They never are difficult, but when you go from like a more normal way of filmmaking to the way Bresson shoots his films, you have to adjust a little bit. But if you're doing like 4 in a row, there's less adjustment needed. So that's, I didn't do 4 in a row, but I did them pretty close together. So I didn't have to adjust to the Bresson method much. Okay, the first one I'm going to talk about is 4 Nights of a Dreamer. Now this film is it's not been released much. It's like I saw it on a really old copy. I think it was taped from VHS. So it needs a good Blu-ray release. It's a really good film. It needs a good Blu-ray release. Certain Bresson films in the 70s just seem to be treated terribly. It's almost like no one thinks they can make any money, so nobody's going to bother with them. I mean, there's Infame Deuce, 4 Nights of a Dreamer are the 2 big ones. The Devil Probably is quite hard to get hold of as well, but I know Artificial Light years ago did a release of that one. So it's a bit easier, but you're still going to have to look for it. I mean, Lancelot de Lac is in DVD, but again, it was old Artificial Eye, same with Largent. His films need some restoration and some dedicated work done on them, which I'm not getting at the moment, so that's a real problem. To the film, 4 Nights of a Dreamer is basically, as with most of the later Bresson films, we see Benoit there for some reason, that's weird. They're based on the literary adaptations where he's taken the basics and he's done his own thing with the story. This one is based on, I think it's called White Nights is the title, and it's about this dreamer who, he's an artist, he's this French kid, probably has money from his parents. You're feeling this guy has money, he's probably been, you know, sort of abandoned to grow up by himself almost, because you feel that he doesn't have any communication skills. It's almost like you've got the money, just go and do what you want to do. So he lives alone in an apartment, he paints a lot, he records into a tape recorder, and he's just trying to make sense of the world. He's artistic leanings, but he doesn't want to, he wants to connect desperately, but he's not very good at it. He just has all these images of what women are actually like that isn't really reality, and he's kind of stuck in like a Arrested Development phase of his life. He does all these paintings. It's a romantic sensibility, but he's also trying to be like surrealist in his paintings. He's trying to look more worldly than he actually is, and he can't quite connect to the world. He's scared of the world, he doesn't want to go out to the world, so he wants to hide from it, but he also wants to appear worldly, so he does these recordings into this tape recorder, describing women, describing how much they look at him and see how deep he is. It's a perfect example of like someone who hasn't gone beyond adolescence, he hasn't, but he wants to have that kind of attitude, that, you know, impression to other people that, oh no, I'm important, you should listen to me, when there's nothing much to be gained from him, listen to him. I mean, you see this nowadays with a lot of people who are online saying you must listen to me. I'm in my early 20s. I've read Marx. I've read this. I've read that. I know how to solve the world. It's like that kind of thing. It's like, no, you really don't. You just haven't really been in the world much yet. You don't really know a lot of the flaws in the system, the actual flaws in the system. Not the theoretical ones, the actual flaws, the way people act, the way people interact, how irrational people can be, how irrational, like, organisations can be, just how difficult getting anything done in life actually is. These are the kind of romantic view of how you should listen to this person because he's pure. It's that kind of just self-involvement. He goes for walks and he rolls and things. He thinks that's a sign of purity, that he's untouched by the corruption of the world. But of course, he's also like watching women and almost stalking them and creeping them all out, and he's just off, but he's kind of harmless off. He's not like someone who's like going to do something horrible to anybody. He does have genuine decency to him, but he just hasn't really engaged in the world. He hasn't really engaged with his own place in the world. He knows people who come and visit him who are trying to see what he's creating because he's paranoid about anybody seeing his art. But at other times he leaves his doors open, doesn't lock them when he's out. So he's kind of pushed purely. Once people see what he's doing, they have to try and really make an effort to see what he's doing. It's that kind of adolescent thing. I'm really important. You really have to put effort into finding out about me. It's that feeling you get from him. So basically at the start of the story, you get an idea of who he is, and you get the rest of this throughout the story as you're into his past. You see what his past is, and you see all these little details I've described. He meets this girl who's but the same age as him, like early 20s. She lives with her mother. She's always a bit less well off than he is. They have to have a lodger in there, and he's kind of... The lodger keeps a distance from her, and she keeps a distance from him. They're doing these games without ever meeting with each other. It's almost like a tease. And she's as unworldly as he is, but she thinks she's worldly. She thinks she's sophisticated. And her way of getting to him is to make him really pay attention to her by having to really work to get her attention. So, I mean, the peas in a pod, him, the dreamer and her, have that same sense of superiority over the world, like, no one understands me, you need to really pay attention to me. And they just don't get the fact that most people have their lives and can't be bothered in this garbage. It's nothing important to them. It's like, you always see them in crowds, these two in crowds of people, and they always think that everybody should be paying attention to them and what their trauma is. And most people just try to go on their lives. So it's like, it's quite funny because Bresson gets it. Bresson gets that these two are very self-involved. But he's also sympathetic towards, because it's like they're in that self-important phase of their lives where they haven't quite moved on to like being grown-ups. So they have a kind of late adolescence to them. But they're dealing with sexuality and they're dealing with desire. And she eventually, in the flashback, you find out that she seduced this lodger. Then he had to go to America, but he agreed to meet with her a year later at a split spot if they were so interested in each other. She was obviously interested in him, but he never showed up, so she's going to commit suicide. The dreamer stops her committing suicide the first day, and then over the next few days she started telling him her story and all about her problems with this guy who had never showed up. And she gets him to take a letter to his friends to say she's waiting for him. And during this time, obviously the dreamer has fallen in love with her because he's fallen in love with this romantic story that mirrors his traumas and his self-indulgences. So he thinks she's a perfect person for him. And she's starting to fall for him in some way as well, but they don't want to admit to each other. So that's basically the story. It's the self-involvement of these two people who can't quite get that they're they're out their minds, basically. But it's that self-involvement of youth. And because Bresson's making this film as a man in his 60s by this point, you understand self-involvement, but also can be critical of the vanity of youth and the, like, just the pure... They're looking at people in a very voyeuristic manner. It's all about the looks and the feelings, what they get from the feelings from people. It's not they don't actually talk to anyone else. They're just in their head. So he's sympathetic to it, but he also knows that it's not a good idea. So he's as the story progresses, their ideals get tested, but not in any ways they're ready to face, or any ways they can actually approach with a kind of grown-up sensibility. They're just basically like children who've just discovered attraction and sex, and they just don't know how to deal with it. And they're trying to look grown up. I think that's why the problem with films for a lot of people is these two characters are not sympathetic at all. They're kind of annoying at times, but they're annoying in a way that you probably were annoying when you were about 21. The same way I was probably annoying when I was 21 and not realising it, because you think you're just everything you're thinking must be really important. It's that kind of looking at what the kind of irritating you probably were at that age, and put it into a love story. It's not really a love story. It's an attempted love story between two people who don't understand that they need to actually face people who are different from them, who are unique. And the reason she fell in love with this other guy was he was different from her. He had different sensibilities, and she can't articulate it. She just falls from it in a very animalistic fashion. And so she knows there's something she needs from this guy, but she doesn't know how to articulate it. So she does all these romantic gestures, or like hard to get gestures, and it's just very childish. Okay, now we're into spoilers. I can't go any further about spoilers. Basically, it's a 50-year-old film, so I'm not actually worrying that much about spoilers, really. Basically, at the end, so if you haven't seen the film and don't want to know what happens at the end, don't go any further. Basically, the guy ends up showing up the fourth night very casually, and the girl, after declaring love for the dreamer, walks away because of the guy she was really interested in, and the dreamer's left alone to be romantic and think this is one great loss for him. But it's not a great loss because they didn't ever know each other that well. They told each other a story, but they didn't really get into the weeds with each other. They didn't really talk to each other in depth and really get their flaws. They were just like two narcissists. So it's never really a love story, and she's kind of going towards what's, it's in some ways cynical. She just drops him, but it's obviously something that she has to go through. This relationship with this guy is not going to last. It's going to go badly for her, but that's probably what she needs to kind of grow up. This dreamer, maybe he needs this to grow up, but I suspect probably he needs a few more of those things to grow up. You know, but it's that idea of the narcissism of youth and the need, the sense of self-protection. You're trying to grow up, but you also have a sense of self-protection. I don't want to get hurt, but you kind of need to get hurt. It's kind of like an attraction to something you're kind of flinching from, and they've got that in this film. That's what the film's really about, that kind of feeling of push and pull of experience versus the purity of what's in your head. And what's in their heads are all nonsense, but the film treats it with enough respect to say that's what kids are like, that's what young adults are like. There's still a lot of nonsense in their head they have to get in the system. And it treats it seriously enough though that there's an emotional attachment, but it's wise to the problem. So that's what's really good with this film, again, because the Bresson style. He's not having people proclaim things that would very muddy a lot of the problem, a lot of what's going on in their lives. He doesn't muddy it with having you sympathetic music or anything. It's like you're just watching these people do their thing, and you can observe them, and you can recognise behaviour, but you're also not observing them with lots of close-ups, lots of tears and all the rest of it. No, they're depressed and they're self-involved, and you get the story, but you also get the distance to say, yeah, there's there's obvious problems with these people. That's what's wonderful about it. I mean, Four Nights of Dream is a wonderful film, but it takes a lot of work. It's not an easy film, but I'd highly recommend seeing it if you can. It is a wonderful film. It's just beautiful. I don't want to get any further with it. I mean, spoiling it doesn't really matter because you can know that's going to happen from the off. I mean, as soon as you start to tell her story, you know that's the ending. The ending's going to go there, and it's not even trying to hide that's the obvious ending of this film. It just does it, and it just shows you how life can go off in weird tangents in a way that's scary to these two overgrown kids. And it's what they're kind of just showing themselves from, but they kind of need it at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's an unusual Bresson film. It gets in colour. In this one, Femme Deuce is going to colour, and they'd go further with Lancelot Black. So it's quite interesting when you see Bresson in real life settings, and it's not like black and white. It doesn't feel distant from the black and white. It's just very direct, and it's framed like in 1:3:1. And as it goes on further, it even goes to 1:6:6:1 ratio. Wow, that's almost shown off in Bresson. So the actual colour makes everything. He doesn't romanticise the colour schemes. It keeps interesting, but he doesn't romanticise it. So again, it flattens out the image even more than the black and white did. So it gives it this kind of coldness that I think something like Pickpocket and Diver Country Priest had a bit more romanticism, because even though he was very serious and a bit subject matter, the black and white might give it a kind of romanticism that he's fighting against. The colour, there's no chance of romanticism. I think that's why some people like his older films more, because there is at least some illusion to make the pill go down a little bit easier. And this one, it's just like brutal reality. There's no escape from it. It's just like, this is what these people are like. We've all been there. We've all got something of this in us, some of this potential in us, and you just have to deal with it. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back tomorrow with another Bresson video, because you know, they're great, but they are hard to, you have to put the effort into these ones. They are worth it as you go through them. Okay, I'll see you later.